Hi, I'm Helen Claire. So today we're going to be focusing on feet, ankles, Achilles, shins and calves, working towards optimal strength, mobility and flexibility here. And working on this area can dramatically improve running technique and greatly reduce risk of injury. So it's a great area to spend a little bit of time working on. Grab yourself a mat. We don't really need any other props other than perhaps a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball or myofascial release ball for the end. And we'll get started. So let's start on our hands and our knees. Spread your fingers there, and I'd like you to tuck your toes and just begin to ease your hips back. Come part way back up and push into your hands, lift your hips, send them up and then back. So lengthen out your spine, but keep your knees bent. Drop your knees back down. Keep your toes tucked as you start to slide your hips back, taking a bit more weight into the soles of your feet. Release your toes, so come slightly forward, release the toes back slightly, and see if you can lift your knees. Doesn't need to be very far. Back down, let's slide the hands back out, tuck the toes, push into the hands and lift the hips up and back. Allow the heels to begin to drop, but keep your knees bent. Float back down, so we repeat, knees to the floor. Keep your toes tucked, slide your hips back. Maybe bring your hands slightly further back, come part way up. Release the toes. See if you can begin to lift the knees. Back down, hands come back out, downward facing dog. Hips high, knees bent, and then begin to drop your heels. Back to the floor. Knees come down. Keep the toes tucked, slide the hips back. Walk your hands in. Either stay with it here, or just for a few breaths, come and sit upright. Take more of your body weight down over your pelvis, into your heels and your toes. If it's too intense, come forwards. And then hands back forwards again, release your toes. Slide yourself back. Either one knee and then the other, but keeping yourself centered, or both knees at the same time. Might not be as far as this, might just be a little bit. Great, forwards again, hands to the floor, tuck your toes, lift yourself up. Okay, really push into your hands, send your hips away from your shoulders. And I'd like you to lift one heel really high, so come right onto the toes, and allow the other heel to drop down. It may come to the floor, it might not. Let's keep this back knee soft. So a tiny bend there. 3, 4, 5, and then switch. Dropping the other heel as you lift the other. Again, try not to look out the back of this knee as you drop your heel down. 3, 4, 5. Great. Okay, let's lift both heels up, look towards your hands. Let's walk ourselves up, maybe part way there. Drop your chest towards your thighs, hug your belly in, and a little push off the floor. We'll roll up and come to stand. Come towards the top of your mat. Okay, reach your arms up high. Lengthen your tailbone there. Exhale, bend your knees slightly, come down. You could straighten your legs a bit more. Lift the back of your chest and press your hands down. Let's walk back to plank. Lengthen your tailbone. Maybe use your knees, come all the way down, release your toes. Inhale, roll back your shoulders. Cobra. Exhale down. Let's do that one again. Lengthen your legs back more. Really point your toes. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Inhale, roll back your shoulders. Exhale down. One more, keep lengthening through your tailbone here. And exhale down. So great opportunity there to point the toes away. Back to plank, downward facing dog. Let's lift the heels really high. Maybe come onto your tiptoes, but keep your butt in the air, tails up. And then slowly, on a count of 3, dropping the heels back down. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Options there, repeat that action, or just from your knees, taking your body weight forwards and back with the toes tucked. So that option, or again, lifting the heels and dropping them. Or a third option, if you're experienced with yoga here, wrap the armpits in, press the floor, let's lift the heels, lightly jump. And lightly jump back to your downward facing dog, heels up. And then slowly drop the heels. So maybe 2 more. Lift the heels high, look forwards, press, jump. And lightly jump back. Drop the heels down. 1 more. Great, come down onto your knees, release your toes back. Slide your hips back, come onto your fingertips at the front. Just relax your head in between your shoulders for a couple of breaths. Roll back up. Downward facing dog, step, walk or jump to the top. And then all the way to stand. Okay, so comes down with your feet hip width apart, hands on your hips. And let's bend our knees, like Utkatasana. Spread your toes. As your toes spread, your inner arches will lift. Take your weight slightly into your right foot. Let's take our left knee towards our chest and stand tall. And then slowly send it back. Step that left foot all the way back. Look forwards, chest forward. Begin to drop the back heel. So as we go, we're finding that strength through the arch of the foot by lifting, spreading the toes. We're beginning to lengthen out the Achilles here with those jumping actions, finding greater strength there too. Let's reach the arms. And then turn open to the side, warrior 2. So front foot stays there, back foot 90 degrees. Straighten your front leg, just relax your arms for a moment. Triangle pose, spread your toes as much as you can. As you do that, your inner arch of the foot will lift. Put a slight bend in your front knee and strengthen into the thighs. Open your arms. Reach forwards. Exhale. Bring that hand down. Relax the toes, but keep the inner arch lifting. We don't need to go very far here. 3, 2, 1. Let's come back up. Parallel your feet. Okay, again, soften your knees. I'd like you to, again, lift the toes, lift the inner arch of the foot. Then let's come part way forwards. Again, relax the toes, but keep that arch lifting. And straighten the legs if that feels good today. Extend the heart forwards. Take the fingertips to the floor if that's easy enough to do. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, let's come back up. Turn your right foot, or whichever the top one is, back to the top and come onto the toes there at the back, hands to your hips. Start to straighten the front leg. Then begin to drop your back heel. Doesn't need to touch the floor, but begin to drop it. Lean your chest forward, belly draws in. So we're finding some central core strengthening work here as well as we go. Maybe a little bit further forwards, but we're not folding all the way. So thinking about that back calf. 3, 2, and 1, and hop to the top. Okay. So second side, we're just going to repeat that on the other side. Feet hip width apart. As you bend your knees, I like to spread your toes. Always great to practice if they're spending a lot of time in running shoes. Take your weight slightly into your left foot. Let's bring the right knee up. Slowly step it all the way back. Open your chest, gazing forwards, hips straight forwards. Begin to drop your back heel. Let's reach the arms. And then open to the side. So front foot, leg stays where it is. Back heel drops 90 degrees there. Straighten the front leg, relax your arms whilst you think about your feet, spreading the toes, lifting the arches. Strengthen all the way into the thighs. Reach forwards. And just come part way down. Let your fingertips rest above or below your knee. And reach up. 3. So you can relax your toes, but think about keeping the arch engaged. 2, 1, let's come up. So paralleling the feet again, really thinking about working the muscles of the foot, lifting the toes, lifting that arch, and then seeing if you can keep it there. We'll come part way. Relax the toes to keep them spreading. Maybe straighten the legs, maybe take the fingertips down. 3, 2, 1. Bend your knees, come back up. So you're going back to the top of the mat, swiveling onto the toes at the back again, straightening the front leg. So great for your hips here as we try and find our balance, squaring the hips to the top. Begin to drop the back heel and then start to take the chest forwards. 3, 2, 1. Great. And maybe you notice a difference in the calves on either side and step up to the top. Good. All right. Standing tall then, spread the toes. Without looking, feel the arches of the foot lift. Relax the toes. Bring your hands to your hips. Keep the feet working. Take the weight slightly into your left foot or either side, whichever side, but rest the opposite heel on that ankle. Or maybe just lift that foot up a little bit higher onto the calf. So we're thinking here about finding our balance, but really getting that balancing foot to work. Keep the foot spreading, the toes spreading. Stand tall. Use your belly. Use your abdominal muscles here. Relax your glutes. 3, 2, 1. Come down. Just switch sides. A simple pose, there's different focuses we can take. Right now we're thinking about that balancing foot, the work that it's doing. Maybe it feels slightly stronger on one side than the other. 3, 2, 1. Let's come down. All right, come towards the top of your mat. Take a long reach up. Exhale, let's fold down. Walk yourself back to a plank. If it feels good just now for you, rock forwards and backwards. Lengthen your tailbone so you feel your belly drawing in. Good, then lower all the way down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift both heels. Draw your right knee in towards your chest, hug it in. And then step that right foot to the top. Find your balance, come up, bring your hands to your hips. Adjust your stance, it can be a little bit shorter, so that helps to find your balance here. Open your chest, look straight ahead. Okay, let's lift the back heel. Chest forward. Tap the back knee to the inside of the front one. Step it back. Look forwards. Drop the back heel. Lift the heel. Torso forwards. Tap the knees. Step it back. Open. Drop. One more. Lift. Forwards. Slowly tap. Step it back. Drop. Great. Hands to the floor, back knee to the floor. And just pause here for a moment. Relaxing both feet. Relaxing your hips as well. Just remembering that everything works together. So although our focus here might be feet and the lower legs, we're getting in lots of work for the hips, the pelvic stabilizers, and our core as well. Okay, let's press it back, downward facing dog. Second side, lift the heels, draw your left knee towards your chest. And then step it to the top. Come up, find your balance. So a comfortable long lunge here. Can be a little bit shorter than this. Lift the heel. Chest forward. With control, tap. Step it back. Open. Drop. Two more. Up. Forwards. Tap. Back. Open. Drop. Last one. Back heel lifts. Forwards. With control, tap. Send it back. Open and re-lengthen. Hands to the floor, drop your back knee to the floor this side. Couple breaths here wherever you are. Or if you do have blocks handy, feel free to use blocks here under your hands or stay up a little bit higher. Good, and then press it back, downward facing dog, hips up. So step your feet halfway up your mat, wide. So as wide as your mat there. We're going to start to come into a squat. So just gradually bring your hips down, bend into your knees. Now, a blanket under your heels can be useful, or just keep your heels up. We won't be here too long. Somewhere like this would be great. If your heels do come down, great. Lift your chest. Good, and then perhaps more importantly here for us today, hands forward. Bring your heels in closer towards one another. So this position can be a lot easier actually. Then reach your hands forward and drop your hips back. This can be really nice for Achilles. Good, 2, 1. Come up, bring your knees in and drop your knees down, release your toes back. So I would like to come back to this little knee lift, please, if that's okay. And we'll lift the knees up to Just see where they come to. Remember, you can also just do one at a time, but avoid leaning to one side and stay nice and centered if you're doing that one side. And do 5 breaths each side. 5 slow ones. Or around 5 with both. Good, all right. Come down and come take a seat. Bring your legs out in front. Okay, so if it's comfortable for you to lengthen your legs out straight and sit tall, great. But otherwise, bend your knees to avoid this sensation of needing to fall back. Bend the knees, sit tall. Let's spread your toes. Find a gap between all of them. And then holding onto the back of your thighs, take your chest forward. So rest your ribcage on your thighs. And then options here. It's quite nice just to wrap the arms underneath the knees. Relax your head, but try and keep some of that length through your spine. And then if it feels good, you can start to lengthen the legs. If you can, hold the feet, or you want to release the arms somewhere, then that's cool too. But keep the toes spreading. Back long. 3, 2, 1. Inhale up. Okay, let's bring the right knee in. Drop the right knee to the side. Fingertips either side. Just walk your fingers part way out. Doesn't matter how far. You might just be staying tall for now, for today. But grip the fingers on the floor. Draw your chest through. 3. Front toes up. 2. 1. Slide back up. Bring this front foot down to meet the other one. Just hold on to the feet at the ankles. Sit tall. Couple of breaths. Great. So lift the right knee and send that leg out. Just sit as tall as you can. Just now relaxing this left knee to the side. Maybe you're walking the fingertips out just part way. Spread the toes at the front. Lift your heart towards them as you grip the mat, pulling your chest through. 3, 2, 1. Back up. Let's bring both feet to meet again. And this time, hold on to the inside of the feet. And if it feels good for you just now, open your feet like a book. So your big toes move apart from each other. That might help to drop the knees a little bit further to the side. If this is kind of really tricky just now, try it against the wall. That can really help. Just 5 breaths. 2, 3, 4, 5. Lift your knees and come and lie down on your back. Just grab your ball if you have one, just have it nearby. Okay, so have your knees bent, feet flat, ankles under your knees roughly. Spread your toes again. Relax your toes on the floor, but they're still spreading. And then feel the strength of the feet as you lift your hips up. Imagine you're holding a block between your knees so your hips feel strong. Your inner thighs are working, but it almost feels as though all of that's coming from your feet as your feet press down. Come up as high as you wish with your chest and your hips just now. And then slowly come back down. Take your ball, pop it under a foot. Stretch the other leg out. Okay, start to relax everything, but you're just going to roll this ball around in a bit of a circle in the middle of the foot, so around the arch. If you find a particularly nice bit, maybe just keep it there and just roll it up and down a little bit. Otherwise, just keep it going around. Maybe go back to the heel. Maybe up and down the center. And this is a nice relaxed way to do this. Obviously we can apply a bit more pressure if we're standing. And let's just switch feet there. So both weakness in the feet and tension in the feet can lead to things like Achilles tendinosis. Many Achilles problems, as I've talked about before, usually come about through overuse in runners and doing too much too soon, but almost always accompanied by either this instability in the foot or too much tension in the foot. So as you go through a practice like this, you might discover a little bit more about the health of your feet, your ankles, your calves, and start to see which areas you can begin to work more on. Great. And just let them all go. Stretch your legs out. Just move your toes around a little bit. Just move the feet, the ankles around a little bit. And then just take a minute or two just to relax. Relax the feet, the legs completely. Relax the hips and the belly completely, because we've done quite a bit of work through the rest of the legs and the core as well. So take your time there, no rush. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed that class. Please let me know how you got on in the comments below. If you did enjoy it, then why not give me a thumbs up? And if you'd like to see more from me, then please subscribe to this channel. Check out my private Facebook group via the link below, where you'll also find some links to my yoga flow running retreats and courses. I'll see you soon.